you ever wake up to a feeling you can't name? A restless tightness, a sudden ache, or an inexplicable burst of laughter at 2 a.m. And you wonder why your night keeps returning with the same uninvited noises inside your head? If so, you're living with an unlabeled signal, a sound your body makes when an old feeling wants attention but you don't know how to respond. This story is about a man, a sealed box, and a simple practice that turns noisy, confusing inner signals into manageable, actionable information. It's also a toolkit you can use tonight when the noise starts. The protagonist is Jonah, a 32-year-old who receives a small unmarked package on an ordinary Tuesday. Inside is a plain wooden box with a brass latch and a single note. Listen, name, open. The first night, Jonah hears a childlike giggle that slides down his hallway like a loose coin. The second night, there is a metallic scraping, like a chair being dragged across an empty room. The third night, there is a low, muffled crying that seems to come from inside the walls. The noises are not random. Each noise feels familiar and wrong at once, like a song from a house you used to live in. Jonah is tired of waking up to them, but he's also curious. He decides to follow the note. He will listen, he will name, and he will open. The story that follows is both literal and metaphorical. The box acts as an external container, a device that turns an internal state into an observable object. This externalization is the secret at the heart of many therapeutic practices. When feelings remain folded inside, they rattle you quietly all night. When you put the feeling into a named container, even an imaginary one, you change your relationship to it. You stop being its battleground and become its observer. Step 1 in Jonah's practice is simple: label the sound. The first night, he scribbles laughter in a notebook and realizes the giggle has the brittle, high-pitched quality of someone gasping for attention. Instead of pushing the noise away, he repeats a one-sentence label: "That's nervous laughter." This act of naming is not mystical. Research in affect labeling shows that giving emotions words reduces amygdala activity and increases prefrontal regulation. In plain English, saying what you feel turns down the alarm and lets your thinking brain step in. For Jonah, labeling softens the noise enough to ask a second question: where did this laughter come from? He practices a gentle visualization. He imagines the sound attached to a small, translucent figure in the corner of the box. He watches the figure's shoulders rise and fall, sees the quick sideways glance, and notices the pattern. The laughter appears whenever Jonah considers telling someone about a mistake at work. Naming links the noise to a context. You can do the same. Tonight, when a strange emotion wakes you, whisper a label: anxiety, shame, raw joy, loneliness, and notice what memory, thought, or situation the label points to. Step 2 is to map the sound to a memory with a tight 3-question routine. When does this sound usually happen? What body sensation accompanies it? What story runs in the background? Keep answers short: a word, 2 words, a single clause. Jonah discovers that the scraping sound comes when he sits down to write an email he has been postponing. The scraping maps to the sensation of grinding teeth and a story that whispers, "If you send that message, you'll be rejected." Now that a sound is attached to a context and a story, you can examine its usefulness. Ask, does that story still help me? Does it protect me or hold me back? This is where philosophy meets practical care. Many of our internal alarms evolved to protect us. They are short-sighted bodyguards. Some alerts still make sense. Others are outdated rules inherited from a different life. Jonah realizes the scraping is an outdated rule. It once kept him safe in an unforgiving office culture that punished bluntness. Now it keeps him from asking for what he needs. Step 3 moves from mapping to meeting, the soft extraction technique. Jonah sits with the closed box under a lamp. He imagines a thin ribbon connecting the scraping sound to his jaw. On an inhale, he draws the ribbon out an inch. On an exhale, he imagines pulling the sound into the box where it becomes an object, a small tin chair that makes a soft metallic whisper. He places a sticky note on the tin chair: fear of rejection. He closes the lid gently. You can do this with breath and imagery too. The box doesn't have to be real. The container can be a mental image, a drawer, or a folder on your phone labeled night noises. The goal is to create a boundary between you and the triggered state. Separate noticing from acting. Naming and containing reduce impulsive reactions because they allow your cognitive system time to decide. Step 4 is conversation. Make the extracted object speak. Jonah opens the box, lifts the tin chair, and gives it a single line of dialogue. "I am trying to keep you small so you won't be hurt." The voice is not accusatory. It's a worn-out strategy. This reframing, which therapists sometimes call externalizing, turns a problem into a character you can negotiate with. It builds empathy for the feeling and reduces the self-blame that keeps people stuck. Ask the feeling one question. What are you trying to protect me from? Listen without judgment. Write down its short answer. Try to say back, thank you for trying to protect me. I see your job. This softens the feeling's grip. Step 5 is practical rescripting. Once Jonah recognizes the scraping as protective smallness, he experiments with a micro-behavior. He drafts a short one-paragraph version of the email and sets a 10-minute timer. If the scraping noise starts, he uses a 2-breath reset. Inhale to the count of 4, exhale to 6, and read the draft aloud. The physical rhythm anchors his nervous system and reduces the urge to avoid. Each small action rewrites the narrative that animated the sound. The technique works because it pairs exposure with mastery. You do the thing that used to trigger the noise, but you do it in small, controlled steps while the feeling is contained and named. Over time, the sound loses volume. Alongside these steps, Jonah practices a short nightly ritual that we call the listening ledger. Before bed, he places the closed box by his bedside, writes 3 lines. The sound he heard, the label he gave it, and one micro-action he will take tomorrow to challenge the old rule. The ledger acts like a feedback loop. It transforms passivity, I woke up again, into agency. I heard nervous laughter. Tomorrow I will say one honest sentence at work. Putting intention beside noise shrinks the unknown. The next night the giggle returns, but now Jonah is ready. He opens the box, pulls out a paper puppet that says, I miss being noticed. He doesn't have to fix it immediately. He sits with gratitude for the puppet's honesty, and then decides to call his sister and tell one small true thing about his day. These micro-steps reconnect the feeling to present reality and reduce its capacity to hijack. Underpinning the whole method are 3 psychological principles you don't need to spell out to use, but it's helpful to name them. Labeling, externalization, and graded exposure. Labeling is the naming we discussed. Externalization is the act of placing a feeling in a container so it becomes observable. Graded exposure is taking small, safe steps toward the trigger to rewrite the fear association. Together, they convert noise into information and information into action. A short practical checklist you can use tonight. 1. When a noise wakes you, write one word label. 2. Map it with 3 rapid questions. When, where, what story? 3. Visualize a small object that carries the sound and put it in a box. Give it one honest sentence. 4. Choose one micro-action for tomorrow that challenges the story by one small degree. 5. End with a 2-breath reset and close the box. Repeat. Alongside these practices, cultivate curiosity. Jonah begins to keep an artful distance from his own shame and anger by asking, what would I tell a friend who heard this sound? The compassion that follows is crucial. When feelings are attacked, they grow louder. When they are listened to, they become teachable. There are a few caveats worth mentioning. If your internal noises are overwhelming, persistent, or tied to traumatic memories that make daily functioning impossible, this box practice is not a substitute for professional help. Think of it as a self-guided tool that amplifies the benefits of therapy, not replaces it. Also, be patient. Suppressed patterns were efficient once, and they often return on birthdays, anniversaries, and stress. Expect relapse and treat it like a practice session rather than a failure. To close the story, Jonah's nights change not because the box removes feelings, but because it brings him into relationship with them. The metal scraping becomes less a prosecutor and more a messenger. The laughter becomes less a mocker and more a child who wants to be seen. The crying becomes less a secret and more a request for comfort. The noises do not vanish overnight, but they do quiet as he learns to listen, name, and respond. The last scene finds Jonah placing the box on a shelf with a slim stack of sticky notes labeled Imperfect Truths. He smiles, closes the lid, and feels lighter because he knows how to open it tomorrow without being consumed. If this story opened a box for you, try the listening ledger tonight. Label one sound, map one small action, and contain it with 2 breaths. If that helped, share this method with someone who wakes to the same noises, because awareness spreads by example. If you want more practical tools to turn confusing feelings into a toolkit for clear thinking, like this video, share it with a friend who needs permission to listen, and subscribe to Mind Unlocked, your ongoing toolkit for better thinking, so we can keep opening boxes together and turning the noise into something you can manage and learn from.